What insolence! I am your king, and I gave you 2 market days to bring your daughter to the palace as my bride. It was a cold evening at about the 4th hour since pregnant Esosa went into labor. Her husband and some of her loved ones patiently waiting and anticipating for the arrival of the newborn. When suddenly, the midwife came out of the room with a sad face, carrying a baby on her arm. The midwife handed the child to Idahosa, and they all began to celebrate the arrival of the newborn. When all of a sudden, the midwife told them that Esohe had gone to be with her ancestors. When they heard this, there was total silence for a while, after which they began to cry and shout. Esohe's death was a great shock. What was supposed to be an evening of celebration became a night of agony. Idahosa rushed in and saw his wife lying lifeless and covered with a pool of blood. Esohe lost her life due to the complications she had whilst giving birth to her child. Idahosa was heartbroken because he loved his wife so much. He started crying and questioning the gods. What will become of me and this child? Why did you decide to make me a widower this very day you made me a father? On whose breast will this innocent child suck on? He looked at the poor baby who had just lost her mother before even knowing her, and his pain intensified. The midwife took the child and held on to her for a while before giving her to a relative. Idahosa cried for a long time. After a while, they buried Esohe and consoled him. Esohe's elder sister Afiangbe stayed with Idahosa and took care of the newborn during that period. On the 7th day, Idahosa named the child according to the tradition of the land. He named the child Ivie, as she became his precious jewel. Ivie was such a peaceful and beautiful child. Idahosa loved and cherished her so dearly. After some weeks, Afiangbe went back to her home. Idahosa was left alone to care for his daughter Ivie. He did everything he could to give Ivie a very good life. Life wasn't easy for both of them. That period was the most difficult period of his life. No day passed that he did not remember his dear wife Esohe. Idahosa became very attached to Ivie. Whenever he went to the farm, he would wrap her with some clothes and put her in a basket under a tree. Some kind neighbors assisted him when they could. Idahosa continued for a long time, and the bond between him and his daughter grew stronger. Years passed. Ivie grew up to be a very beautiful and respectful girl. Her beauty was unusual. No one had ever seen her kind before. Everyone who saw her must admire her. She was not only beautiful, she was bold, respectful, fearless, and hardworking. Ivie was her father's pride, and the villagers admired her. She despised oppression and pride, and she was very compassionate towards the poor. As at the time she was a teenager, wealthy men were already coming to her father so she could be betrothed to their sons, but Idahosa turned them down. One beautiful day, Idahosa and Ivie had a lot of harvest from the farm, more than they could even imagine. Idahosa decided to take some of the harvest to the king as a way of appreciating him for letting him use his part of the land to farm for the season. Ivie begged to follow him as she would like to see the palace. When they got to the palace, Idahosa asked her to wait for him while he entered the throne room to see the king. The Enogie was so happy to see Idahosa. They talked for a long time, after which Idahosa presented his gifts to him and appreciated him for letting him use part of his farmland for that season. Enogie accepted the gifts and prayed for Idahosa. After they were done talking, Idahosa and Enogie came out of the throne room and he bidded Idahosa goodbye. When he was about returning to his chambers, Ivie came out and greeted him with her knees on the ground. "Long live the Enogie," she said. Enogie was dumbfounded and he stared at her for a long while before he was distracted by Idahosa. "Who are you, beautiful one?" the Enogie said. "She is my daughter, Your Highness. We came here together." Idahosa noticed the lustful gaze and quickly withdrew his daughter to himself. "We would like to take our leave now, Your Highness," Idahosa said, as he quickly left with Ivie. The king stared at Ivie till they were out of sight. Idahosa was very uncomfortable with what had just happened and told Ivie that she can no longer visit the palace, and she agreed. Few days later, the king summoned Idahosa to the palace. When he got there, he saw the elders and a lot of food items and drinks. Idahosa greeted the Enogie and the elders, and they did the same and asked him to take a seat. "I called you here today to ask for your daughter's hand in marriage. I will like her to be one of my queens. Look at all these gifts. They are all yours, and also 5 plots of land, including the one near the river." The Enogie said to Idahosa, with the elders nodding in excitement. "Long live the Enogie. May we all not see misfortune. Your Highness, I appreciate the gesture, but my daughter is still very young to be married. I have great plans for her, and I would like her to choose her husband herself when the time is right. She is all I have, and her happiness and achievement is my topmost priority. Your Highness, please let her be of age, and if she wants to marry you, I will not object." The king flared up in anger. "What insolence! I am your king, and I gave you 2 market days to bring your daughter to the palace as my bride." The palace was shaken by the king's anger, and Idahosa went home in fear. Immediately he got home, he held his daughter closely and told her what had just happened. Ivie was scared and she begged her father not to marry her off to the king. Idahosa had to quickly look for a way to save Ivie. Thank you for listening to this story. If you want us to make more videos, hit on the like and subscribe button below and comment which country you are watching from. We love and appreciate you.